CBS News Bay Area Afternoon Edition with Ann Mekovic.
Right now on the afternoon edition, Oakland Mayor Barbara Lee marking her first 100 days in office. As the city continues to face challenges with crime and homelessness, she's joining me live to talk about the progress made so far and what's next. Thanks for joining us today. We have Mayor Lee standing by in studio. But we want to get to this. We just heard from Governor Gavin Newsom, who was touting the success of the CHP's crime efforts in Oakland and is talking about expanding those now to other cities around California, including San Diego, Los Angeles, and the Central Valley. Here's what he had to say this morning.
I underscore that success to highlight the fact that there has been over 4,000 vehicles in Oakland alone, stolen vehicles that have been recovered under this operation. Illegal guns, DUIs, that operation continues again to this day quite successfully, embraced by the new mayor, currently members of the city council, including, again, those that help sponsor this effort at the county level. I spent a lot of time in Oakland. It's an extraordinary thing to walk the streets of Oakland and have people come up and say thank you to the California Highway Patrol. Thank you to the men and women of the California Highway Patrol for being there.
President Trump's threats to send the National Guard to Oakland, like we've seen in D.C., saying the president needs to look at the facts. And if he was serious about addressing crime, he would send the military to other cities where the crime rate is much higher. Well, let's bring in Oakland's Mayor Barbara Lee. Congratulations on your first 100 days in office. So we appreciate you being here. We just heard from the governor touting some of the efforts to fight crime in places like Oakland with the CHP. So that has worked.
That's worked, and it's working. And I really thank the governor and the state of California for assisting Oakland. And this is what needs to happen. These partnerships, we have partnerships with the county and with the governor and with Caltrans on so many issues, on homelessness, on trash removal, on housing. And these are the kind of partnerships that make sense. We see that the crime rates are going down. That's because of the partnership between the Department of Violence Prevention, Ceasefire, and our police department. We still have a lot of work to do, though. People still need to feel safe and need to be safe.
Yeah.
And so we have strategies to move forward to make sure that our public safety continues on this downward trajectory, recognizing we have, the crime rate on this downward trajectory, recognizing we have a heck of a lot to do.
Yes, and so I want to contrast then, the president's proposal to send in Guard troops to Oakland. If we need help, why not get help from the feds? You're talking about partnerships.
Why not get help from the feds? First of all, we do not need a military occupation of our cities. Secondly, we know that what he is trying to do is to try to provoke chaos, and we're not going to let that happen. We know that he wants to allow ICE to come in to deport immigrants. We're not going to let that happen. We're pushing back very hard, and we have our plan in place, but we recognize the president is just not telling the truth about Oakland and about these cities. When you look at what is taking place in the cities, what about those cities that the governor laid out? I mean, come on, we know what this is about, and we're not going to let him provoke any kind of activity or chaos that would allow him to come in and occupy our city.
Yeah, you've mentioned that he doesn't understand Oakland. What is it about Oakland he needs to understand?
He needs to understand and tell the truth about Oakland, first of all, and we're telling the truth. The crime rate is coming down. We need help for housing, for our Department of Violence Prevention. This big, ugly bill that he signed into law takes away health care from our districts, from our residents. We need help with workforce training. The tariffs that he has created havoc with our port with, we need that kind of help from the federal government to make life better for everyone.
So you're saying
not a military occupation.
The kind of help he's offering is not something that fits with what Oakland needs right now.
No, it does not. And we are definitely telling the truth about what we need, not allow him to tell lies about Oakland.
And of course, there's plenty of video when it comes to showing chaos in the streets of Oakland, sideshows particularly. I know a lot of residents are fed up with that. You've made several arrests now following some of these vehicles back to other cities. Where does that stand, though, for neighbors who say that they're just not safe on their own streets?
Look, I'm a resident and I'm angry. And believe you me, we are working very hard to stop these sideshows. First of all, the budget did not allow for sideshow patrols last year, and we finally were able this year to put investments into special patrols and special operations for sideshows. Secondly, when you look at the sideshows and the people who are committing these crimes, 80% of them are from outside of Oakland. And so we're cracking down hard on towing cars, on citing people, on arresting people, and we have a lot of work regionally to do, which the governor has laid out in terms of regional cooperation. So we're not turning our heads to this. We're not putting our head in the sand. We're working really hard, believe you me. And our police officers are working hard. Our neighborhoods are feeling the tension and the trauma around this. And so this is extremely important for myself personally, because I know what chaos and what fear sideshows bring to communities, and so we have to work to get this done. Also, finally, I'll just say we have a lot of infrastructure issues with regard to streets. You know, sometimes in communities, sideshows are prevented from occurring by having certain infrastructure built.
Things like higher curbs, roundabouts, things like that. Yes, that neighbors have been calling for.
Yeah, so we've got all hands on deck.
Speaking of, want to talk about your homeless plan. You've recently unveiled that, a 5-point plan. We've heard these strategies before, though. Why do you think they're going to work this time?
Well, you haven't heard them from Oakland before. We have now an Office of Homelessness Solutions, which will be right in the city administrator's office and fully staffed. That's the first thing. It's a priority in the city. That's the second thing. And we have a new strategy where we have anti-displacement, helping before people become homeless, first of all. Secondly, a strategy for shelters, transitional housing, also for permanent housing. And we have to build out permanent housing. We don't have enough housing, affordable nor deeply affordable.
Right, so you're saying the coordination here is going to be the difference?
Well, the coordination and the strategy, because we have new ways to do this, and it's not going to be easy. But when you look at other cities, I'm looking at pilots. For instance, in Portland, Oregon, there's a program called Glitter. People who are unsheltered are hired to clean up trash and to address encampment policies and what have you in blight. And so 70% of the people in that program who need the services, the case management, mental health services, drug rehab, 70% of them find permanent housing. And why? That's because they have a job. And so helping people with financial resources on the front end helps reduce homelessness.
Okay, we would certainly love to see some progress in that. And you got to give me one hot take before we go. 3 decades in Congress, all of a sudden into Oakland City Hall. Do you have any regrets, any thoughts on that transition?
No, I love it. And let me tell you, what is hard to realize is that every Sunday evening, I don't have to get ready to get on that plane to go back to D.C. I did that for 27 years. I was in Oakland 3 days a week, Washington, D.C. 4 days a week, back and forth, and worked on the weekends when I was here. So that's great. And to be with people each and every day in this great city, the residents are wonderful.
Yeah, a different climate. All right, well, welcome home, Mayor Lee, and we look forward to talking more as you add more days to your tenure.
Thank you very much. Good to be with you.
Too. All right, we do want to switch gears right now to the Minneapolis school shooting right now, because that is developing. As you know, what happened there yesterday, that is when we had 2 children shot and killed. They were ages 8 and 10, and several people injured as well. We'll go to the very latest right now with Navidio Cavazos.
Mourners set up tributes this morning to the young victims of Wednesday's deadly shooting at an Annunciation Catholic Church in Minneapolis.
Where's the shooter?
Terrifying footage provided to CBS News by a parent shows panicked children running out of the chapel moments after a shooter opened fire during morning mass. 2 children, just 8 and 10 years old, were killed.
This is an unspeakable tragedy. Thoughts and prayers, they're certainly welcome, but they're not enough. These kids were literally in church praying.
5th grader Weston Halsney says he ran and hid under a pew after he heard the gunshots.
My friend Victor saved me though, because he laid on top of me, but he got hit. And I hope he's good in the hospital.
The shooting happened on the student's 3rd day of the school year. Police say the shooter, 23-year-old Robin Westman, died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. According to police, Westman had been a student at the school, and the shooter's mother had also worked there in the past. Investigators say they are now looking into a video it appears that Weston made.
We are also aware of a manifesto
that the shooter had timed to be released on YouTube. That content has since been taken down.
Investigators say the video contains weapon inscriptions with hateful, disturbing messages targeting blacks, Jews, Hispanics, and President Trump. The investigation is also digging into writings from what seems like the shooter's journal, including sketches of a church and rows of pews. The FBI says the case is being investigated as domestic terrorism and a hate crime targeting Catholics.
Police say that Westman had no criminal history and was carrying 3 guns, all legally purchased at the time of the shooting. Law enforcement executed 4 search warrants yesterday, 1 at Annunciation, 3 at other residences tied to the shooter. All right, still ahead here at noon and streaming on CBS News Bay Area. Some progress made against this Napa County wildfire. What is helping crews out there?
And here in the Bay Area, we are gearing up for a little bit of a warm-up right around the corner. I'm going to talk more about this weekend's forecast coming up in just a bit. Back to you.
New developments in the deadly apartment fire in San Rafael that left more than 50 people homeless. The Marin County Coroner's Office has identified the second victim found inside the building as 68-year-old Pamela Scroggins. 62-year-old Tracy Lowmiller was also killed. The sheriff's office says there are no more missing people from that fire, and officials are investigating it as suspicious, but they still don't know the cause. On the fire watch in Napa County, that picket fire we've been covering is now 33% contained, and fire crews say they are getting a better handle on the flames. It's been a week since that fire started burning near Calistoga. It's burned through more than 6,800 acres, more than 10 square miles. Evacuation orders or warnings were lifted near the Etna Springs Resort yesterday. Fire officials hope they will soon be able to lift the remaining evacuation orders and warnings. And while no buildings have burned, a new county estimate shows that Napa County agricultural producers face at least $65 million in losses from the picket fire. All right, let's turn to some good news because we do have pretty nice weather for this long Labor Day weekend. It sounds like it's going to be really warm.
A little warmer compared to where we're at right now, but where we're at right now is actually around average. I mean,
and it's great.
I'm loving it. This is such a good time of the year because you get a little bit of that summer heat mixed in with some nice mild days here in the Bay Area. Here's what we're gearing up for today. 90s off into the East Bay, 60s along the coast. That's the biggest temperature contrast you're going to see on the map because the rest of us, for the most part, where it's just a mixed bag of upper 70s, lower 80s. Today up near Petaluma and Santa Rosa, stretched down into the Santa Clara Valley too. I'm going to drop the numbers real fast and I want to show you something. San Jose today topping off at 83 degrees. That puts us 1 degree above average. 6 degrees above average over in Redwood City. We're right where we should be in places like Livermore, all the way over in Concord and San Francisco too. Santa Rosa today, 3 degrees below average there. Now, as we head into this weekend, Ann made a really good point. We do have some warm weather as we get closer and closer to Labor Day, but here's what's happening. The reason why we're even experiencing that, this area of high pressure is starting to creep its way in. That warms us up, it dries us up, meaning relative humidity drops, and we're still going to get some gusty afternoons ahead of us. Why do I say those 3 things in that order? Well, fire weather concerns, of course, as we head into this weekend. We just want to be mindful, not doing any outdoor burning. I know it's going to be a fun weekend for many of us, but here's the thing. We still have some strong winds pushing in, especially even to the evening hours tonight, up to around 25-mile-per-hour wind gusts there. You mix that with some warm weather and, of course, low relative humidity. We're just going to keep a close eye on it. Heading into next week, temperatures start to drop again. Those clouds roll back in as early as Monday and Tuesday, and we have some beautiful weather on tap for us all the way off into our inland spots as we head into early next week, too. So some little bit of a warm-up that we're experiencing this weekend, a nice cool down into next week. We'll keep you updated on that here in the Weather Center. Back to you.
Thanks, Jess. About 500,000 people expected to come to Santa Clara County next year for big events. We got the Super Bowl, March Madness, and the FIFA World Cup. And the city of San Jose is launching a website now to help direct visitors to neighborhoods like Little Italy in the East Side. The mayor says it is all to help small businesses capitalize on these big events. Coming up here on CBS News Bay Area, a new look for the Niners, and you could say it's for a special occasion. And in our Red and Gold report, questions about a player you haven't seen on the field yet this season. The 49ers have a new jersey, but they're only wearing it for one game. It's part of the NFL's Rival Series. The Niners are going to wear that jersey when they play the Seattle Seahawks on January 4th. You'll be able to buy the jerseys then at the official team store. The Niners returned to practice yesterday, but most of the questions for John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan were about who wasn't on the field with them. Matt Lively explains in our Red and Gold reports.
This is the Audi Red and Gold Report.
Week 1 is fast approaching for the 49ers, and we still aren't certain if Jauan Jennings will suit up against Seattle. But what we did learn on Wednesday is that at one point this offseason, Jennings did request a trade.
That was a long time ago, and we've moved on from that.
Those are the business decisions people make, but I don't look at any of that stuff. I don't get the tweets, but when people copy a tweet and send it to me, that's about all I get, and I usually move on with my life.
Jennings is playing on the final year of a 2-year deal he signed last offseason and missed mostly all of camp with a calf injury.
He wants a new contract, and he's got a hurt calf, so I think people want to assume one or the other. Both things can be true. We're kind of like everyone else, hopeful but not sure, on week 1.
With uncertainty at wideout, the team signed Marquez Valdez-Scantling to a 1-year deal on Wednesday.
We're working to get the best mix out there. We added a piece today and thrilled to have him part of it, and we move forward.
The 49ers also plan on bringing back Russell Gage Jr., who they released on Tuesday. And when asked if the Niners are in the trade market, John Lynch said they're always looking to improve the roster.
Still ahead, we are celebrating Black Business Month with a look at how an Oakland native is bringing Louisiana flavor to the town. August is Black Business Month, and we are celebrating local entrepreneurs making a national impact. This Oakland native turned $27 and a dream into a vegan restaurant with a cult following. It's in Jack London Square. Solely Vegan is where bold Louisiana flavors meet plant-based passion. The founder, Tamara Dyson, is thrilling taste buds and following her heart. She opened the restaurant in 2009 without investors nor culinary experience, leaving a medical career behind to follow her dream. And today she's built a community, mentoring staff and bringing New Orleans flavor to every dish.
I opened that location with $27 in the cash register. As a result, I lost absolutely everything. We're talking about evicted in my apartment. They're talking about my car repossessed, because when it came down to paying the rent for my location or paying my car note, I chose to pay the rent.
Now, despite its obstacles, Dyson persisted, and Solely Vegan is currently in soft launch, open Fridays through Sundays on Broadway and Jack London Square. The grand opening is set for September. That looks fabulous, and the fact that it's vegan, I'm all in. I'm going to check it out. That is it for the afternoon edition. Remember, we are streaming 24/7 on the free CBS News app. Our next newscast coming up at 5 o'clock. In the meantime, have a great afternoon.